It would take someone, who'd be willing to be assassinated to do anything like that. And so as you're choosing your leaders, ask yourself, does this person mean it enough to die? And that's the same question you would ask about your own dad. Does he love me enough to die for me? About your own husband, does he love me enough to protect me from a home invader at risk to himself? Like the basic prerequisite for leadership is love of the people you lead and the willingness to die for them. And if you don't have that, you shouldn't be leading, period. It's true in the military, it's true in business, it's true in your home, and it's true in the government. And so no president will fix this unless he's like literally willing to die for it. And short of that, it can't be fixed.
What's up, guys? Your boy Benny. So the disgraced head of the Secret Service has now come up with a new explanation as to why the agency that is protected with the president's life almost got the president assassinated, and Donald Trump was shot in the head. And by a miracle, Donald Trump is still alive today. Again, this is accurate to say that the Secret Service failed so badly at their job that the president was shot in the head. Got it? Okay. So the DEI director of the Secret Service, right here, Kimberly Cheadle's her name, made an excuse saying that the building in particular had a sloped roof at its highest point. And so there's a safety factor that would be considered when you put somebody up on a sloped roof. Well, that's a little interesting because the snipers who didn't take the shot here to kill the man who was army crawling, the Joe Biden voter, human scum, who was army crawling towards their protectee, they seem to be on somewhat of a sloped roof. Idiot. So yeah, this is kind of leading to people to say, oh, it sounds like you're lying to us, right? Too slopey. Not too slopey. All right. So this was what was too sloped, and this was not too sloped. What a bunch of jackasses. They're such lying. Like, this is a great point, right? Like, okay, Secret Service. Oh, Secret Service. Like, oh no, we're so scared of the roof. It has like an incline at like a 5% incline. No, man. No, there's so many weird things that are going on here, and not weird like, oh, that's strange, like Ripley's Believe It or Not. No, there's enough evidence here to probably charge the head of the Secret Service with malice and manslaughter. That's what I say. Why not charge her? Why not? They should the prosecutor should charge the head of the Secret Service, because people died, right? And people had their lives changed forever because there were multiple people in the rally that were shot. People died. She should be charged with manslaughter. She's probably she probably has more hatred from me than Anthony Fauci does right now, as far as like government bureaucrats. And it's like goes Secretary Mayorkas, Anthony Fauci, the head of the Secret Service, Kimberly Cheadle. Who gave the stand down order, right? Like, these snipers clearly had this guy in their scopes and in their sights. Some reports say for 30 minutes. A professional sniper that I texted with says like, I have no effing clue what they're doing. Secret Service snipers that I've competed against are the fastest, most accurate shooters I've ever seen. The fact they let this happen makes zero sense. Also, why was Donald Trump surrounded by like the women's intersectional feminist BIPOC study group at your local arts college, right? Like, why were these the agents? Look at how the agent can't even holster her weapon. An embarrassment. How is this person who's 2 feet shorter than Donald Trump supposed to cover Trump? These are some questions. Now, these are questions, okay? These are questions. I'm not saying anything about this particular agent in the aggregate. What I'm saying is that this agent can't cover Trump because she's physically incapable of it. Anybody can see that. Law enforcement snipers, like, facing the direction of the shooter, clearly like incapable of figuring out what's going on. Multiple people saying, whoa, I saw the shooter. I literally saw the shooter and I told law enforcement about it. Law enforcement did nothing. Multiple interviews like that. And then, of course, leaving this roof unguarded. So what is happening here exactly? Tucker Carlson had an interesting take. Tucker Carlson was recently interviewed over the last 24 hours about this. and said, yeah, it's totally acceptable to say, no, none of this makes sense. And maybe the government is conspiring to have something horrible happen to President Trump because they've run out of other assassination options.
But my strong sense is they've given up. Trump is going to be president. They know that. At this point, it would just be too messy to stop that. Stealing the election once again, like they did in 2020, is just too hard. Everyone's expecting it. I think it would not be worth it, actually. At some point we may find out what happened on Saturday. A guy with a rifle wound up on a building, that close with a ladder, and all these people saw it, and the Secret Service, they're like, what is that? It's not crazy to think that there was something there. It was an effort to kill Trump. It wasn't just a lone gunman who was killed, that it was something else. But I don't think going forward, look, I think everyone has kind of accepted the fact that Trump's going to win, and it would be too hard to stop him from winning. This is just my gut as of today. And Kamala Harris, that's not going to work. What they really want to do is subvert Trump with a running mate who agrees with the Democrats and on the big issues, on the economy and foreign policy. And there are a whole bunch of those. And donors tried to force them in the last 48 hours. They tried really, really hard. You can't beat Trump, clearly. You shoot him in the face and he gets more popular. I mean, really? So what we need to do is just rot it from within with some running mate who, let's make Nikki Haley the running mate or something like that. And they failed. So I'm pretty hopeful.
You had predicted about a year ago that an assassination attempt on Trump was likely. How did we get here?
Well, we got here, disaster has many authors. So we got here for a bunch of different reasons. I think I say this as someone who's been in the media my whole life, 33 years, an extraordinary amount of recklessness and dishonesty in the American news media, which is loathsome. The legacy media, the big companies that I spent my life working for, have really dedicated themselves to lying in a very cruel and vicious way. People like Joe Scarborough did a lot, I think, to make assassination attempts like that possible. They're comfortable with violence. Scarborough especially is comfortable with violence, but a lot of them are, I think. And so they should be ashamed they're not, but they should be. But I think more broadly, there's a lot going on that is unseen. There's a lot of evil all of a sudden in this country. I never noticed it before. I'm not saying it wasn't here, but in the 55 years I've been here, I haven't seen it like I've seen it in the last year. People really being vicious, people espousing cruelty and killing, people telling you that abortion for its own sake or war for its own sake is a good thing. What is that? That's evil. So there's a lot of that, and this is, I would say, a manifestation of it.
Tucker, the past 24 hours has been wild, the amount of news that has come out. How did the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump change this election?
Well, Trump won when that happened because he displayed physical courage. And, if you live in a society where people are literally dating by remote, virtually, and working virtually, you can kind of lose touch with the physical reality of life. But the unchanging truth is that leadership requires courage, and not just abstract courage, moral courage, but physical courage. Someone starts shooting a rifle. Are you going to wet yourself and start crying and run away? Or are you going to stand up and look at your people and raise your fist and say, fight? And very few people are capable of doing that. And he is. And therefore he wins. Because that supersedes all this nonsense that we talk ourselves into believing is important. No, the guy got shot in the face. He stood up with blood streaming down the side of his head, blood on his hands, and said, fight. Totally defiant. That's an act of undeniable courage that was not staged. You couldn't stage that. And that man is the leader, and he wins. And by the way, notice what happens to everyone in the crowd. When a leader is strong, his people are calm. His courage gives them heart. That's true for a father, and it's true for a president. So yeah, he just won, and he deserves to win. That was the ultimate test.
So Tucker Carlson saying, of course, what we would all expect Tucker to say, given his extensive history of doing something very chilling, which is predicting Donald Trump's assassination on this show and on many others. Tucker Carlson being the man who got it right, chillingly, shockingly, and horrifyingly here, and making sure that he puts a pin in it and starts blaming who's responsible, right? The corporate media, Democrat Party rhetoric about Donald Trump. He's led to boxing. And the hysteria that actually led to a Joe Biden voter crawling on a rooftop to kill President Trump. What actually happened here? You gotta know, because it's not the sloped roof. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe for truth and hopefully some answers here. President was nearly killed and Western civilization nearly ended. So we should take this deadly seriously. See ya.